Oh my goodness, we're nearing the end of our video journey here with Desire Well. Thank you for sticking to the end. We're just going to walk through some of the ways you can discern your desires and actually get the help you need to heal the tampering, slaying that dragon, right? Finding the best answers, finding the treasure for your desires, and actually getting the healing, health, and wholeness you need to be complete. The first way is actually through prayer. Inviting God into your life. Like we said in the last video, this is a great way to just begin that process and get yourself kind of in that space. Second is you can also get other people to help you see your blind spots and see where people are seeing your sick or unhealthy desires and actually what you can do about it. It might be obvious to other people in your life, but they may not be familiar to all this language and all these ideas and the book and all that stuff. And there's ways you can still kind of learn what they see. There's a couple questions you can ask them, like, where could I use better habits? What unhealthy thing do I keep doing? What do you see in me that's distracted? Those are some great questions to ask. Beyond the people immediate to your life, you might all suffer from some sort of tampering in your family and your friends that you may not be aware of. And that's where professional help comes in. Psychologists and therapists study desires all the time, and they're the experts in this area. So getting help from them could be helpful. The problem is there's a lot of charlatans out there that these people are human beings too. And we all have our own types of tampering and types of suffering that we're all going through, and the lack of satisfaction for our desires. And you want to make sure you find a professional that isn't struggling in your area of desire. If they have visible or lots of tampering in their life, they may not even be aware of. And then with the training and the help that you get from them, they could only enable more tampering for your life. And that's not helpful. You want to find professionals that are here to walk with you, to help you and overcome the tampering so you can find the healing and wholeness and actually become everything you could be. You can also learn about your desires, study them. There's a lot to learn about desires, and from the frame of desires, you can actually begin to understand yourself better. I found one of my research, and there's some really cool books out there, but a lot of people don't necessarily use the word desire, but they'll talk about managing your past or acknowledging reality. There's a really great book called Own Your Past, Change Your Future by Dr. John Deloney. He is an amazing podcast host and author, and he's got like 2 PhDs, and I think he's a counselor as well. And he wrote this book that changed my life. Love that book. It's linked below. I also love Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's a great book. Highly recommend reading that to understand what meaning is. And love is what gives your life intense meaning. And you can find meaning not only in pleasure, but also in suffering. The other book that I really like is People Skills by Dr. Robert Bolton. It helps you to learn how to listen to people and actually have better conversations, better relationships, and manage conflict, work through that. And it's a really helpful book. The other one is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's a really great book. I highly recommend that one as well. The other books I have are a list, and they're linked below, but you should definitely check out some of these books. These are some of the readings that I've used in my research to help write this book, Desire Well, and have influenced my thought heavily. And I recommend these just because I think they could be useful to you if you want to pursue the best answers for your desires. I think it's a great way to go about it. Research, learn. The main thing here when it comes to discernment is that love shows the way. When you approach yourself, when you look at yourself objectively and you see in humility, you're like, man, I have a lot to work on. Man, there's this tampering in my life. This is actually the right step to take because that gets you moving forward. Until you understand what's going on inside you, you can't begin to get the healing you need. That's why doctors are specialized on what's inside you. Because they understand it, they can get you the healing you need. And in the same way, desires are kind of like that. It's what's going on inside you. Find someone to help you, like a psychologist or therapist or friends and family that know you really well. Learn about yourself. Find those blind spots. That's key. When you're discerning tampering, there's a difference between tampering and temptation. Now, through the lens of temptation, there's a really cool quote on this, how temptation can actually be useful. And I want to quote that to you now. And it's by Origen, a 3rd century scholar. And he says this: God does not want to impose the good, but wants free beings. There is a certain usefulness to temptation. No one but God knows what our soul has received from him, not even we ourselves. And in this way, we discover our evil inclinations and are obliged to give thanks for the goods that temptation has revealed to us. When you are tempted, you must discern between what tempts you and what you consent to. So this idea is very, very important. There's temptations, and they will happen in your life. But what you allow into your life and what you respond to is where the good and the evil are, where the tampering happens. Temptations are going to come. There's going to be outside influence. People are going to try to pressure you. Reality happens. It sets in. There's a lot of external factors going on in your life. But you can choose to respond in the best way to get the treasure every time. And that's on you, because you are the only one that's going to be living your life. You're the only one that's going to be desiring what the desires inside of you. So your recipe, got to get that right in order to start finding the treasure, finding the fulfillment and the wholeness that is available to you. You just got to reach out and grab it. You got to start aiming towards it. You got to start hitting that mark. You got to learn how to practice and get better. Get on that path to self-mastery so you can get the treasure. Slay the dragon of temptation and tampering and all that stuff so that you can become everything you could be. So the question for you is this: what's one small thing I can do to become a better version of myself today?